let us discuss about the treatment. So treatment can be divided into the two parts for understanding, but it is something simultaneous. It is not like one is followed by other. For the sake of understanding, I have divided this into the two parts. The management of sickle cell disease itself, that is sickle cell anemia, and the treatment of acute crisis, some of the acute crisis we see. So, what are the different treatment options available with us? The first is the pharmacotherapy. Some drugs are available which causes the increase in the fetal hemoglobin. Fetal hemoglobin leads to a decrease in the concentration of this HbS, that is sickle hemoglobin. So decrease the polymerization. So if any drug causing increase in the fetal hemoglobin is going to have beneficial effect over these. Second option we have is bone marrow transplantation, and third option, which is experimental, is gene therapy. So after some time, 5-10 years down the line, we'll able to develop the treatment with the help of gene therapy. Okay. So pharmacotherapy, I want you to remember just one name, hydroxyurea. The dose of hydroxyurea is 10 to 30 mg per kg. I'm not very sure how you are going to remember hydroxyurea, but you have this dose of amlodipine. Maximum dose of amlodipine, most of the you remember. The maximum per day dose of amlodipine is 10 mg. So the hydroxyurea is maximum dose of amlodipine per kg per day. You have to link the data with the data you are already stored. You have already stored inside your mind. If you are not link the data, how many of the doses you are going to remember? You remember two type of data, two type of doses. One, you have remember over the period of time, and second, you are using the drug very frequently. Amlodipine most of the time we remember because most of the time in hypertensive patient we are going to write it. But hydroxyurea is something very rare. I have prescribed for 1-2 patient in RML. Apart from that, I have not prescribed hydroxyurea to anyone. So the indication of hydroxyurea for MBBS student, you may not remember anything. Just remember hydroxyurea. It is used for the treatment of sickle cell disease. Indication, mechanism, and everything you can easily find. Don't worry. Because sickle cell anemia is something you are going to receive as a question in short note only. It is never going to be a long note. If it is in long note, it is in short form only. Write the causes of this classify hemoglobinopathy and short note about the sickle cell disease. This is something going to be. So the indication are if there is repeated acute chest syndrome, more than 3 crises per year, and it is also being experimented to prevent the some of the complication like priapism and the this retinopathy. But still there is no conclusive data on this. But definitely there are two indications. First is acute chest syndrome and repeated pain crisis. Hydroxyurea in 10 to 30 mg per kg per day can be started. The basic mechanism is increase in the fetal hemoglobin. Apart from that, this has also effect over the RBC membrane, vascular epithelium, and it suppresses the granulocyte, that is TLC, and reticulocyte. This TLC, this granulocytes and the reticulocytes increases the polymerization. So decrease in hemoglobin is something adaptive, because if there is less hemoglobin, so less polymerization will be there. So patient will survive. This dose of hydroxyurea is titrated on the basis of total leukocyte count. So target of us will be the keeping the TLC between 5,000 to 8,000. The complication is marrow toxicity and the hepatotoxicity. Apart from this hydroxyurea, 5-azacitidine and 5-deoxyazacitidine, which is also known as dacitabine. This is also known to cause this increase in the fetal hemoglobin. But these drugs are relatively more toxic. So these drugs are not commonly used. Hydroxyurea is something commonly used. Okay. In bone marrow this transplantation, just remember two things. This bone marrow transplantation provides the definitive cure. Okay. But it is effective in safe and effective in children's only. This partial bone marrow ablation occurs, and this partial bone marrow ablation we can do, and this is known as the mini transplant. So the utility of bone marrow transplantation is gaining in adult one also. So the indication of the bone marrow transplantation is if there is a repeated crisis in the early life, because children are having only safety in the bone marrow transplantation. If neutrophil count is very high, and if there is hand-foot syndrome, so these patients can be subjected to the bone marrow transplantation. Gene therapy is still experimental. This is last slide. So the treatment of acute crisis. 3 of the acute crisis we read mostly. We read about the splenic sequestration. Patient may need emergency splenectomy. Most common crisis was acute painful crisis. There are 3 principles for the management of acute crisis. The first is the patient should be vigorously but carefully hydrated. So the IV fluid is the mainstay. Second, you should evaluate the cause of crisis. Most of the time it will be infection. And second, there is pain, so analgesia is something given aggressively. Patient may need morphine or ketorolac if bone pain. Okay. These crises usually resolve in 1 to 7 days. The transfusion is very rare in the painful crisis. Very rarely required in the painful crisis, and it is also seen that if you transfuse blood or exchange transfusion is not going to shorten the duration of painful crisis. So acute chest syndrome is other important acute crisis. So remember 1-2 things. Acute chest syndrome, patient present with the features simulating the pulmonary embolism or pneumonia. So these two must be ruled out, and this acute chest syndrome is a medical emergency, and most of the time this acute painful crisis most of the time can is managed with a home at home only. Many times it may not require hospitalization, but this acute chest syndrome most of the time require hospitalization, and that in the ICU. Okay. The same thing we are going to do. We are going to hydrate, but patient is already having hypoxemia and rapid breathing. So hydration something you should remain very vigilant during hydrating these patients to avoid overload, fluid overload. Okay. Blood transfusion many of time required for the acute chest syndrome to maintain the hematocrit above 30, means hemoglobin at or above 10. Okay. And if arterial desaturation is there and hemoglobin is above 10, then you should try for the exchange transfusion. So some amount of blood of the patient can be removed and the donor blood can be transfused. Apart from that, these patients require some of the preventive measures to avoid this painful crisis or acute chest syndrome. So these patients having the propensity for the infection, so many a time they may require antibiotic prophylaxis. There is no spleen, so risk of encapsulated organism is high. So these patients are going to be receiving vaccination against these organisms. Okay. Apart from that, they should be prescribed for the good oral hydration, moderate exercise. They should not undergo vigorous exercise. And if she is female and planning for the or male planning for the progeny, then genetic screening is something advisable. So this is all about the this hemoglobinopathy.